Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
We are back, everybody. Hi, good morning. Welcome back to WMAL. I'm Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor today. It is 8:07 a.m. right here on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. Yes, this is O'Connor and Company, more or less, as I'm sitting here dreaming about my coffee, sitting alongside Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
You know, it flies along so much, Julie, that you miss your cues when you're coming back in on from the news. Anyway, joining us right now, because we've got to break down exactly what is going on with Maryland, if Maryland wasn't breaking down on its own, is Chuck Jenkins. He is the sheriff up in Frederick County. And, Chuck, we got this story. It's very disturbing. We're talking about this on the show. We talked about it a little bit with Joe DeGeneva. This idea that the Maryland legislature would actually prohibit local law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration enforcement operations, even if the county decides that or locality wants to. Talk about this. What do you make of what's going on here?
Well, what I see, Andrew, is very dangerous because now you're getting the legislature saying to Marylanders, listen, we don't care about keeping the state safe or community safe. We care more about the people who are illegally in this country committing crimes. They're very confused about what's going on. They don't understand that ICE has a mission to carry out. And I think if they look at the county participating with ICE in our 287G programs, we are much safer communities because we hand off the criminals to ICE before they're released back onto the streets. That's what the legislature fails to understand.
When you go out to the community and talk to people, are they in agreement about this? And I'd particularly be interested in when you're talking to women, because women seem to suffer from this sort of suicidal empathy where, you know, they know that there can be risks associated with illegals coming into this country, often having committed crimes in the country of origin. They come over here. I mean, we have a Maryland mom, Rachel Morin, mother of 5, who was murdered while on a walking trail. Are women that you talk to in the community understanding why this is so necessary, or are they sort of suffering from that suicidal empathy that is so common today with women?
I think the women that I speak to here in Frederick County clearly understand the value of this program working with ICE over the past 18 years. We're the longest standing program of any sheriff's office in the country with the 287G program. Our county is safer than any other county in the region, in part due to our participation with ICE. So I think people clearly understand that, and I think people should be angered, horrified, and just really, really concerned about what this legislature wants to do.
Well, let me ask you this, Sheriff Jenkins, because at the end of the day, this used to be, let's say even, 30 years ago, maybe a little more, the issues of illegal immigration and illegal immigrant crime, they were, restricted generally to large metropolitan areas. But the Democrats have made it a point to make this a nationwide problem, and not just a nationwide problem in big cities, but nationwide problems in our smaller communities, our more sparsely populated communities. Frederick County has its larger, urban, semi-urban, suburban areas. So much of it is rural. This is a problem that hits every level of our demographics, doesn't it?
It surely does. So the tentacles have reached out everywhere. Let me just say, before I became sheriff in 2006, I investigated crimes, street crimes, person crimes, rape, sexual assault, and I was very frustrated because there wasn't anything being done for or to the people that were in the country illegally committing crimes. So when I ran for sheriff in 2006, I learned about this program, and I saw the value to the public safety here in Frederick County. I went after the program. It was implemented in 2008, and since 2008, we have facilitated the process to remove almost 2,000 criminals off of our streets because we simply don't release them back into the community. How good is that? Who can argue with the success of it?
Well, let me ask you this. I'm sorry, Joe. Let me jump in here because we got this statement from Delegate Nicole Williams from Prince George's County. who makes this statement that, when you have these kinds of agreements, well, illegal or legal immigrants, they don't feel safe. They don't feel like they can cooperate with police. And I raised this point earlier. It's not the police presence and police law enforcement doing its job that makes people not want to cooperate with law enforcement. It's the threat of retribution from the criminal thugs, many of whom are illegal in these communities. If you remove the thugs, they want to they would be happy to cooperate. Who's right here?
You're right. You're right on. You're right on the mark. And listen, all of the things that these Democrats are saying is political rhetoric. They don't want the programs. They don't want cooperation. They don't care. They simply do not care. CARE about the safety of Marylanders. And again, I can tell you here in Frederick County, 18 years the program's been in effect, and you can't argue against it. You just can't make a logical argument.
Well, Sheriff Jenkins, so let's think about this, because you said you were elected sheriff in 2006. It was what happened over the 4 years between 2021 and 2025. Did anything change? Did things get worse? And actually, I will say this: did things get worse after Wes Moore was elected governor, and then Joe Biden elected president? How did that perfect storm of Democrats in Washington and Annapolis, how did that change the problem and the threats facing the Frederick County population?
So the biggest change was when Biden was elected president. The administration changed. The borders were wide open. Criminals flowed through the borders across the entire country. There was very little enforcement by ICE because they weren't allowed to do their jobs. Since the Trump administration has come into office, there's been a concerted effort to target criminals, gang members, repeat offenders, people who have committed crimes, murder in other countries, rape, child abuse. Let me tell you something. Child sexual assault is very prevalent among some of the illegal immigrant. Let me just say, some of these Central American countries that people come into this country, that's a very prevalent crime, and they commit it here in the United States, and we simply don't tolerate it. So again, if you're concerned about families, children, your friends, we can't have this in this country. Pick a tragedy in the state.
Listen, Sheriff Jenkins, let's end on a higher note. We are well into the fall right now. It's a perfect time to visit Frederick County, isn't it?
Absolutely. And listen, I tell everybody this. When you look at this entire region, the entire state of Maryland, I call Frederick County the land of pleasant living. So I say, pay us a visit, come up, enjoy the countryside, the beauty, and listen. I hope every Marylander gets behind myself and other sheriffs to fight this legislation to kill the program.
Right, and listen, the time the General Assembly session isn't open quite yet, but there are plenty of opportunities. It's not that far to get from Frederick County or wherever you are in Maryland down to Annapolis to testify on these things. In fact, we know folks were there testifying about the Election Commission on Friday. Sheriff Jenkins, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. Have a good day.
Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, he's a sheriff up in Frederick County, Maryland. He's great. Yes, he is. Absolutely. Listen, we got more to come.